Hello everybody, how is everybody today? A little bit different. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? How can they hear us? I don't know.
You have to look on here.
I have to look on there, but I want to look down there, but I can't.
You can look down there if you want.
You can't. Can everybody hear me? Let me know. Yes. And Louise.
Can you hear me?
Can you hear Louise? And here we are. Oh, one big happy family. Good. Glad everybody can join us today. A little bit different today. We got our party gear on, haven't we, Louise?
We have, yes.
You're looking very sparkly there today,
you're looking
darling.
very handsome.
Thank you so much indeed. Looking good. How is everybody today? It's been a very, very busy time in the shop. Good. Oh, nice new image. Yes, it's not going to stay, obviously, because I don't get much work sat like this. But there we go. We are looking fancy. Thank you, Anka. It's very kind. Yes, very kind. I put on the old...
We did make a bit of an effort.
We did make. I hope you've all made an effort because you were asked to put your party frocks and your party outfits on. Love it. Keep in mind we don't knock over those. Those are coming a little bit later. So how's everybody doing? Oh, should we block Buck Star Chaser? So there we go. Good. I'm glad everybody is doing well. We don't have the whiteboard today, so the whiteboard is out, although I will try and do what I can on a little pad, as we used to do in the olden days. So, yeah, may I just like to wish everybody a very Merry Christmas. I know that has gone, but it's still Christmas, isn't it? We haven't got to the New Year yet. And I hope you all had what you wanted to have. Hope you asked Father Christmas for lots of jewellery related things and you had loads and loads of things for Christmas. Did you have a nice Christmas, Louise?
I had a lovely Christmas, thank you,
Very
Andrew.
good.
Yes.
And I had a lovely Christmas too, being with you.
Well, Christmas now is extended until February for us.
Yes. So, yeah, we better explain. So, reason why we didn't have the last question and answer was because the Saturday before, what was that? The 19th, 20. Yeah, I think it was the 19th of December in the evening. We discovered that we then were all on tier 4 of lockdown, which meant all non-essential shops had to close from Saturday night, which meant the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday were going to be obviously our busiest days in the shop and we could not open. So we had to close basically for the rest of the week, which means we could not open our doors to customers. So the messenger was going mad, emails were going mad, the website, the orders were coming in. And what we decided to do was deliver everything that people were asking us for. So any repairs that were due to be collected or due to be ready that week, we were going to hand deliver them. We weren't, and whose idea was this? Yeah, it was Louise's idea to go out and hand deliver every single parcel that we had and every single order that we had in through the website. Because we couldn't open up the shop, could we?
Well, we could have done click and collect, but I think
it was.
It transpired the volume of customers that we served. I don't know how we could have done it safely.
No,
because there's nowhere dry or warm for anybody to wait.
Yeah,
and I just think it would have made things a lot more stressful. I mean, it was stressful enough.
It was very stressful. Yeah.
And because it was people's jobs that we had in the shop. We had everybody's repairs, everybody's commissions, and we thought we'd have an extra week to complete them all. But as it transpired, we didn't.
No.
And people understandably wanted their things back because we are now in tier 4.
Tier 4 lockdown,
and we don't know how long that's going to last. So potentially that could go on until into
February.
March. They are saying it could be February because things are really very bad
here
at the
with
moment.
this second strain or this mutant strain of COVID that they've discovered. So it means that we cannot open our shop at all. Yes, we can still do click and collects, but what point is that if you're trying to make jewellery or you're trying to take in work to be repaired? I don't think we can do that. So we've been on total lockdown. So we had those 4 days to do everything. Jason came in, we did all the repairs, we carried on finishing off all the commissions, we contacted everybody, and there was 3 of us going out on on the last day. So there was Sharon's husband, Gareth. He delivered for us Monday and Tuesday. And then Louise and I went out along with Gareth, and Jason as well went out on... He's funny. So the 23rd of December. So in all, we delivered 180 parcels, 180 packets, 180 deliveries we made over those 3 days. And it was quite a mammoth task, wasn't it?
With hindsight, it was
bonkers.
insane.
It was bonkers. But then looking back, it was the only way to do it, because if you consider we would have had 180 people come into the shop over those 3 days, it would have been a nightmare. We would have just might as well had the door open and just, there we go, there's your parcel. And then you're in close proximity with people, and what we want to do is keep everybody safe.
Because we were in a quandary, weren't we? Because a lot of the other local businesses, as soon as the imminent lockdown was announced Saturday evening, a lot of shops just opened until midnight.
Yeah.
And I know, like neighbouring villages, they did that as well. And we were a bit like, do we do it? Do we go down there now? But then in the end, we just decided that it was irresponsible. Well, not irresponsible, because I don't want to judge other people who have done it. But then it's not helping. It's kind of encouraging people to rush out. So, but we had our coats on off a few times. Yeah, we were at the front door. Shall we go? And when we put something on Facebook, we asked our family, what do you think we should do? Should we go? And they went, yeah, go. And then we said, well, if you go, then you're enticing people to the shop. And now we know about this new strain and how deadly it is, and how, not deadly, and how, what's the word? It's more highly infectious,
how highly infectious it is. Then you're encouraging people to get close and so forth. So that's something that we did not want to do. So hence the reason why we delivered 180 parcels. Stupid idea. But the upside meant that we closed Christmas Eve. And it was the first Christmas Eve that I have not worked in 33 years. And it was lovely, wasn't it? Because we couldn't open Christmas Eve. All the parcels had been collected. We stopped people sort of buying on the website, although we put into place that they could buy vouchers, e-vouchers, that they could buy online and then use online. But it meant that we just chilled Christmas Eve, which I've never chilled that way.
You tried hard to chill, but you don't chill easy.
No, it was really hard, wasn't it?
For you.
Yeah, really hard, because you're thinking, but oh my gosh, is there people coming to the shop? They're thinking, and we were getting phone calls, people saying, oh my goodness me, you're there. Are you open? And we say, no, we're not open. We're supposed to be shut. We're closed. We're not closed. We can't open. Oh, it was just... wasn't it?
And it was the idea of letting people down, because you get all the last minute shoppers and the husbands, and I don't want to stereotype, but that is tend to be the main customer base on a Christmas
the fathers
Eve
were coming round with their kids, last minute presents for the boyfriends, the girlfriends, the mothers, and it was just hard to step back from that.
But nobody, I don't know if we had phone calls, obviously, because we weren't here, but we didn't get any Facebook messages, and all week we were constantly getting messaged, and it didn't stop.
No,
it just literally didn't stop from about 6 o'clock on Saturday evening till... it phased out slowly,
it was crazy, wasn't it? It was crazy, because as soon as that was announced on the television, we were having messages saying, oh, I'm due to pick up my ring. I dropped my ring in today. I want to pick it up. Is it ready for Wednesday? Is it ready for Tuesday? And we were just getting all that sort of thing. So anyway, that is long-winded answer to the question, why didn't we do our 21st of December question answer? Because we were just so busy rushing and getting everything sorted out. And that's the reason why.
I was absolutely knackered.
We were.
If anybody said anything kind to me, I think I would have just started to cry and wouldn't have stopped, and it would have been the end of it anyway. So that was, I just said, I can't do it.
Can't do it.
Just so emotional
It was very emotional, wasn't it? Because it was just...
It's just the idea that we're back to where we were all those months ago, only not even in as good a position as that. But then...
And it's hard, because you again, I constantly think of money, obviously, and those 4 days is the busiest time of the year, and we had to close, and that is hard, and we could only rely on what came through the website. But we did very well, thanks to you. And now I have come up. Remember a few months ago we were trying to work out what Louise's title could be. We just came up with these silly ideas. But I think I've come up with what we need to call you. amongst other things. And so now Louise, within the company, is going to be the COO.
The coup.
The coup, which is the chief operating officer. Is that right?
Is that what
Chief
you said?
operating officer. Yeah, because you're responsible now for the day-to-day workings of the store.
Hang on a minute.
What?
Does this absolve you of any responsibility?
Do you think I would? Do you really think
no, I don't think you would.
Exactly. So there. So Louise is a coup. She's the chief operating officer. And the best thing about it is the COO has to report to the CEO. And I don't class myself as that, but you have to report to me.
When we're in work, maybe.
Oh, well, obviously, whenever. Right, okay, that's enough of that. Enough chit-chat. So you understand the situation. We've pushed the bench to one side. We've put a nice little table, some little decorations. I've got a couple of glasses here as well. And in true style, when we do our question and answer, we can't really drink. But today, we can drink, Hibby!
Can we what's different about today? Christmas party?
Christmas party.
Because we're in party clothes.
This is our party, baby. Yeah, we are partying. So, we've got a bottle. So, questions and answer session. It does not have to be about jewellery. It would be great if you did ask about jewellery, but you don't have to. Sorry, I'm just going over a bit of a cold, so I do apologise. So, anything you want. It can be to do with me, it can be to do with Louise, it can be personal, it can be business, it can be work, it can be about jewellery, whatever you want. Quite happy to answer. Is that all right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So these are the top of the questions. I don't know if you want to look, because you don't normally get to see them, do you?
No, so I can.
So you've got them
I've got my
there.
monitor down here that I can look at. So what do I do? Am I just going down?
Is this the top of the questions, or the?
This is the top. Yeah. Should I open this in the
You
meantime?
get one of those hats that holds 2 drinks and straws. I've always wanted one of them.
Sounds good, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I was going to save this until the end, but I thought, nah,
Horatio, yes, it's time to get the gin out, definitely.
Let's just drink it now, shall we? So I hope you all had some great Christmas presents. I think it's one of the first years I haven't had anything jewellery related, have I? Oh, where's that?
Yeah.
What did I have? What did I have? Jewellery related? Did I have
You
anything?
didn't have any tools or anything like that?
No books. So it's actually, for me, it's quite a good Christmas. It's a bit,
I could show you what I started making you.
No. So apparently Louise has started making me something. I don't want to see it. You can make it when we come back out of lockdown.
Yeah, I did have some help. I was having some help.
To be honest, Louise,
I ruined an ingot mould and I almost set fire to the workshop.
Yeah, but who's your teacher?
Jason. Don't laugh. That's all right.
Jason is your teacher. Oh my!
I couldn't ask you. It's spoil a surprise.
I know, but come on. Of all the people, Jason.
Don't be horrible.
Oh, sorry. Go on. All right then. So should we have answer a question? Should we?
Right. Where do you want to start? This is the top. This is the bottom.
So we'll start with Mike. Andrew, when I was finished with melting my 10 carat in a crucible, my crucible is pinky purple. What is wrong? Hey! There's nothing wrong at all, Mike. It's purely just the colour of the flux. Just spoke about my trousers. It's the flux, when it gets heated up, it starts to obviously to melt and to become like glass-like, and it just takes on a completely different look. When you come to solder, who knows what we're going to be like at the end of this. When you come to solder, you look at the colour of the flux because it's a good indication of the heat and when things are going to start to melt and to flow. And it looks quite grey because there's only a small little amount of it. But obviously in a crucible, there's a lot more flux to it. There's a lot more depth to it. And it is purely the colour of the flux. So it's nothing to worry about. It's not necessarily impurities. There's nothing contained in the flux that's going to damage or contaminate your next melt. It's no problem at all. There's no reason for it to be bad at all. It just happens to turn out that way. Should we,
Oh, yes.
Cheers, everybody.
Cheers, happy Christmas.
Cheers, Merry Christmas. Cheers. This is nice, isn't it? It makes a change, this.
Do this every week.
Do it every week like this, yeah. Good idea.
Okay.
Okay.
But just asked when do we see Jason?
You won't?
But he was on the video the other day, and you were singing, and he told you off. He wasn't happy that I posted that.
Yeah, Jason is, if anyone watches or used to watch Top Gear, he used to like to be thought of the Stig.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you see him, but you don't actually see him.
Oh, okay, right.
That's what I think.
Oh, is that why I've spoiled it by sharing the video?
Well, no. Let's face it, he didn't have a face for film, does he? Really, or face for video. But I think he won't be on film. We used to do lives before, when Grace, my daughter, used to be on the camera, and Jason used to be sat by the side of me, and he would never ever appear on film. He doesn't want his face on film. He just something he just doesn't feel comfortable with, and won't talk or anything like that. So no, I'm afraid you won't get to see Jason. Not through my doing or Louise's doing, but he just doesn't want to be on the film at all.
He's just camera shy, isn't he?
He's very camera shy, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, what was the watch, Mike again, what was the watch you gave to Louise at the end of your excellent video? I assume you're thinking of the Andrew Berry Actually. that was actually very good. When did we release that? About a week before Christmas? Saturday.
Friday. No, it was Friday. It was
Friday,
the day before the
probably.
lockdown. Sorry, this is bubbles. It was the day before the. Sorry, the day before the lockdown.
It was, wasn't it? It was the Friday before the lockdown.
Yeah.
And we sort of, Louise had the idea of doing like the Love Actually, where the guy comes with all the cards. I'm sure you've all seen it. It's on our Facebook. Is that not the Bench's Facebook? It's on Andrew.
I don't think I've put it on.
It's on Andrew Berry Jewellery's Facebook. Go and see it. It's really good. I did a little bit of a twist at the end of it, because at the end of it then, the whole idea was the boy then, or the man, walks off with the cards, that sort of thing, and then I'm a little bit on the bright side, aren't I, down there?
A little bit.
On the bright side.
No, you look.
I'm okay? And then the idea is then the girl comes up, holds him, gives him a big kiss, and she goes back indoors. But I wanted to change that. And I thought, well, if the pretty girl comes running out to give me a kiss, she could go, "Can I have a battery in my watch, please?" And I thought that was a pretty good ending, but we weren't too sure in the end, were we?
I suppose it was funny. You thought you were going to get a Christmas snog, and you just got a watch for a battery.
But it is a typical thing, because you walk around the village here and everyone stops and go, "Oh, you couldn't put a battery in my watch, but I'll pick it up later," or whatever. So yeah, it was a bit like that. But the best thing about it was picked up by the Professional Jeweller magazine. Could we put it on Twitter as well? And it got picked up by them as well, which was really good. And I think we had thousands and thousands and thousands of views.
Made people cry. My mum cried when she watched
I think
it.
she cried twice.
Yeah.
And she watched it twice and cried. And couldn't absolutely cried both times she did. Yeah. So yeah. So there we go. So that was I didn't give Louise a watch. She didn't give me a watch. She just said, "Can you put a battery in my watch, please?" But if you haven't seen it, go onto the Andrew Berry Jewellery Facebook page. It's on there. Or just, if you follow me on Twitter, it's on Twitter as well. If you have the next question, please.
A member at the bench. How to add to picture gallery.
Okay, well, I don't know.
You don't know?
I can't remember. I don't add pictures.
Great admin you are.
I don't add pictures to gallery, do I? You logged in? Oh, you're not even logged in, Louise. Oh. I think upon the top you've got gallery. I'm sure you can click on gallery. Either that or it's in the dashboard section on the right hand side. I think you can add it on there. I can't remember for the life of me how to do it, but I'm sure perhaps we'll do a little film and put it on here. Can't remember, sorry. It's not good, is it?
Mike, was it Mike who asked the question? If you open a ticket, we'll look into it and get you some advice on it.
Yeah, that'd be the best thing to do.
Is that okay, I think?
Yeah.
Because, we can't just say, don't have to do it, end of. So,
No,
we
There we go. My foot knocked the plug out down there.
Can you hear us now, guys?
Louise, do you want to start again?
Start again from the very beginning.
Let's have a think a minute. Let me have a look. Let me put that on as well. Yeah.
Are we back? We're back. Sorry.
Yeah, we're back. We should be back on. Yeah. Right. Mike.
Philip Schofield's job is safe, isn't it?
Oh, come on. I got a socket right under my foot here. That's usually behind the bench. In the bench. Come on.
Okay, let's go.
Mike.
Shall I read it again?
Open a ticket on At The Bench.
Open a ticket or drop us a line on Facebook Messenger if you're on Facebook.
And we certainly will answer it.
Yes, we'll sort that out for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
How to make a basket setting for 5mm star seed edge. The problem you've got is this. Yep, there's your star. You can't necessarily put claws on those points there because each one then has to be a V claw. Yeah, so it's really, really hard. What you're going to have to do is put the claw in these spots. Okay, so treat it as a 5-claw setting. That is your best bet. And the best way to do that is to get, okay, can you see? Yeah, so get that there, you get another bit of wire and you do that. Okay, so you get one wire, you bend it into that. You get another wire, you bend it into that. And you get another wire and you bend it into that. Then you've got 5. Okay, then you bend all the wires up like that. Then you solder a ring in that gap there.
Leaning on your mic.
On mic, okay, so there we go. So then you then put that ring. You can always cut a notch into these little claws that there's obviously 5 of them coming up, and there's one in the front of there. Okay, you put then your gallery by here, and then you should have a 5-claw setting for a star CZ or whatever it is, and the claws are going to come over in those spots by there. That's your best way about it. Okay, how's that? Oh, I do have one before we go any further, but I do have one from a gentleman. Before we go any further, his name is Barry. Barry sent me a message. Now this is quite an interesting thing. He asked me how to remove fire stain. Just basically with a file or with some emery paper, and you physically have to abrade it and get it off the surface. It's not deep. You can use perhaps some 600 grit or 400 grit emery paper just to remove it, and then you have to go over and then refinish it. Something like that, which would be fine. That is your best way, and then repolish it. The best way to removing fire scale or fire stain is not to have it there in the first place. And the best way to do that is to protect the surface from the torch. You can use a flux, you can use some safety pickle, not safety pickle, some magic boric. You can use some boric acid as well, which is boric acid mixed up with some flux and some methylated spirits or whatever we're looking at.
Alex is saying, why can't you put it on the points of the star?
Because the claws, it's just awkward. Because then, okay, so going back to this. So
Sorry.
It's okay. So you got a claw sticking up, and you've got the point of your stone. And it's really, really, really difficult. Let me try and find a number. To have a single claw, because you're going to have to make a little bit of a recess in that claw for the tip of the stone to go into. Quite difficult if you're sort of new to all of this, and plus these points of the star are really, really delicate as well, so you don't really want to go putting too much pressure on these points. So these points by here in the middle of the star is far better and a far easier way of putting a claw on it. So yeah, go back to fire scale, trying to get it down there in the first place, protect it with boracic acid or borax or a flux to stop it. And the other thing that Barry said, I'm not quite sure whether Barry's on at the moment, Barry also said he has some casting grain that he wants to sell. He says he bought it a long time ago. Would I be interested in buying it? And I would be able to save the VAT. Well, I don't save the VAT because I can reclaim VAT back. So Barry, if you sold me the grain, you could not charge me VAT because you are not VAT registered. So you have to sell it to me without VAT on, because then obviously I cannot reclaim VAT back because you're not VAT registered. So there's no VAT upon the casting grain. Now, you said you don't want to sell it for scrap. This is the thing, this is the problem that you've got, okay? I know we're going slightly off topic, but this is quite an interesting thing. So basically, if you buy silver and you're VAT registered, I will pay 80 pence a gram, but I can reclaim the VAT back and it's only costing me 67 pence. I can reclaim the 13 pence back because I'm VAT registered. So Barry, you cannot charge me VAT unless you're VAT registered. So you have to charge me 67 pence a gram, okay? But if you scrapped it, you would get 51 pence a gram for it. So the difference is, what's that? 51 from 60, that's 16 pence. And to be honest, Barry, I would rather buy brand new silver knowing what it is rather than take a chance and buying something that I'm not too sure on. So you can sell it for scrap, 51 pence a gram, far better. If you message me privately, I can tell you exactly where you can get 51 pence a gram for. Otherwise, if you sold it to me, you cannot charge me VAT. I've had it now, thank you. We may have the next question then, please, Louise. You can be there. May I have the next question, please, Louise?
Right, Janet is asking, with predicted price increases of silver, what is your view for the future of silver jewellery making, especially the amateur hobbyists? Will people pay higher and higher prices for silver?
Well, the thing is, everybody's going to be in the same boat, because if you buy silver and somebody else buys silver, but then you're buying the silver at the same price. So it's not as if you buy silver, because everybody's in the same boat. You don't get a special price because you're a professional or you've been trading for so long. Everybody will end up paying the same price. And this is the problem that we've had in the shop. We sort of refrained from buying gold because it was just becoming so expensive. But everybody else is in the same boat. So if I bought a gold chain today, it'd be at the same price as Joe Bloggs down the road buying a gold chain. So it seems silly to hold off buying because it's so expensive, because it's still expensive for everybody. And I can't see the precious metal prices fluctuating too much either. So I don't think you've got any problems because everybody's in the same boat. Everybody's going to be paying that higher price regardless. So use your scrap for making things, perhaps by trying to have more recycled jewellery, perhaps if you've got some old scrap rings that would be making something that you've bought at a cheaper price from last month, last year, a few years ago, you can reuse that and you can then charge a slightly lower price than your competitor because you've bought it at a slightly cheaper price. So just be clever with what you're doing, clever with the scrap that you've got. Perhaps try and reuse it, perhaps just make embellishments, perhaps roll it into sheet, do some casting and utilising your cheaper scrap, and you can make things and that's that little bit cheaper. Well done.
Okay.
Next question then, please, Louise.
Okay, Andreas is asking, what is the best way to solder white brass or nickel jewellery? Is there a way to give silver a grey colour?
I don't think so. I think
a silver grey colour, sorry.
Yeah, I think your best bet is simply to use a silver solder. I don't really know of any other type of solder that you can use for soldering brass. And if you use the smallest amount of solder possible, you then will have the most minimal amount of cleaning up to do. Nickel jewellery, I've used nickel silver in the past. There's no silver in it, but we've used silver solder because it's very close to the very close to the same colour as the metal using silver solder. And obviously as the solder then starts to oxidise slightly, because silver oxidizes and solder oxidizes, it won't become as bright and it'll become slightly oxidized and it'll be more in keeping with the brass or the actual nickel silver as well. They're all jewellery questions, Louise. Come we have some some just general questions? What have we got?
Susan thinks you look like a young Capaldi.
Louis Capaldi? No, not Louis
Capaldi.
Peter Capaldi.
The Doctor Who.
Peter Capaldi.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And you, what did you say? More like Sylvester McCoy. Thank you very much.
It's just the dicky bow.
Yeah, but he had like bulgy eyes and funny.
Oh, okay.
Oh dear.
Sylvester McCoy. Okay.
Sylvester McCoy. Yeah. Someone's also mentioned about the beard as well. It's coming along nice. I do agree.
A couple of people have asked why the beard.
Why the beard?
Why not?
Yeah, because
It's a bit of fun. It's a lockdown project.
It's a lockdown project. Well, the thing is, when you've got your mask on, no one can see, can they, from here downwards? So I know that Louise doesn't put a lipstick on, whatever, because it's all hidden, that sort of thing. So I thought, well, why do I bother shaving? So I shaved a little bit by here, because obviously when the mask is here, you can see these bits. And I just left this little bit by here. And I just sort of became, didn't it? Because you went, oh, leave it, it looks lovely.
It'll look nice with your Santa hat. That's what I thought. That's why I said grow it.
Exactly.
And it did.
Yes. Not bad. So that's the whole idea. And then because usually after Christmas I don't normally shave, and I normally grow a little bit after Christmas. I thought, a few weeks before Christmas, should we try it? Yeah.
It's a proper real beard now, though.
It's a real beard, not a
beard.
pretend beard, but a real beard that has a bit of growth and direction.
I've never seen you with so much facial hair.
Thank you very much. But this bit, I don't dye it, obviously. So this bit is quite dark. Obviously, I don't know why I said obviously, but this bit is quite.
You make people think that you
quite
do dye
dark,
it now.
but I don't dye, do I? I wouldn't dye it this colour, would I? Let's face it. Would I really dye it this colour? No, I would not. So there you go. Thank you very much for the comment on my beard. You're good.
Okay.
Next question, please, Louise.
Susan is asking, wet final polish lubricants and tricks of dealing with wet polish finish. Wet final polish lubricants and tricks for dealing with wet polish finish.
Just use a bit of water. Just use a bit of water.
Speak to us, master of the infinite saw frame. Just a bit of water.
just a bit of water. Have a bit of water. I presume you mean when? But Emmy, go back a second. Let me see what Susan said.
Oh, I want to do Romy's question now.
Okay, wet final polish lubricants. Just water, I think. That'd be the best thing, because wet and dry or emery paper is a good abrasive. And if it is slightly too abrasive, you can always put a little bit of water with it, just to reduce the amount of cut the paper has. So you've got 600 grit or 800 grit or 1000 or 1200, as Louise likes. She wants 700 grit. She'll be waiting a long time for that, won't she? But water will reduce the amount of cut that paper has. So I would just simply use water. It's also good for sort of flushing out the debris, the bits of, not quite lemon, is it? The filings, the polishings out of the paper as well. And that's what I would use. But be careful now what you do with this water, because the lubricant, the water you put on the emery paper has precious metals in it. So perhaps put a paper towel underneath. So when your water has gone onto the paper towel and then dries, you've actually got precious metal on that paper towel. Then you can scrunch up and put it in your sweeps bag. You right there, no?
Yeah, no.
Maybe have
I think we've got a new. I'm not sure if you're a new person to the live, but 4K Cola.
Reading your questions will be encouraging.
I thought I haven't been near my bench in years, but want to. This is the thing, isn't it? Because I play the saxophone and play the viola, and it's the same sort of thing. I haven't picked up my viola for years and years and years, and then when I do, I go, oh my God, I'm so out of practice, and it's really discouraging. But then I don't practice enough to improve, and then it's a bit of a vicious circle. But the faster you just get back into it, do it, then
I think it is,
it's
isn't
not
it?
something you're ever going to regret. So please, please, please.
I don't think you ever forget. So they've made jewellery in the past, yeah? So what, 4K Cola?
Yeah, why did you stop? Was
I
it just
unfortunately haven't
time?
been near my bench in years, but want to. Making something seems like almost a magical power, also incredibly frustrating and terrifying. It is wonderful. It is an amazing it's an amazing thing to be able to melt down metal into a crucible, if you don't break it, Louise.
I didn't break the crucible. I broke the ingot mould.
How can you break an ingot mold? So the ingot mold, okay, pour it into an ingot mold, and from that you can shape it, you can bend it, you can solder it, you can cut it, you can form it, and it is an amazing thing. And I'm sure that thousands of years ago, goldsmiths were treated almost as gods. As I am today, because of the mystical powers and what they could do with the metal. They could turn this metal ore into these fantastic ornaments. And it is really, really satisfying to see something that you've made from a raw material. But I think if you've been making jewellery in the past, you'll never forget, you never lose the ability. It just takes some time to get into remembering. And I don't think the brain or the muscles actually forget how to work and how to move metal. So I'm sure the moment you get back at the bench and you spend a few hours there, you go, oh my gosh, this is coming back to me, this is amazing. And I don't think you'll ever lose that. But the more time then that you practice and move the metal and shape it and to solder it, it'll all come back. If you do need some slight refresher lessons, pop onto YouTube, pop onto our playlist to do with soldering and things like that, and I'm sure it'll all come back to you within no time at all.
But it is scary, and I think this is what's amazing about everybody here, is that when you're self-taught, I'm not assuming you are self-taught, you might not be, but I just think it takes a huge amount of self-motivation and discipline to join at the bench or undertake something without or just any sort of continuing professional development, isn't it?
I think nowadays with things like the internet, you can do things behind closed doors.
Yeah.
Whereas perhaps if you're slightly timid or a little bit embarrassed or a little bit shy, so rather than going to classes, you can just come along and join, say, at the bench. We've got an offer at the bench at the moment, going on at the moment, but we'll come to that in a minute. So if you go to at the bench or any online training or YouTube, you can look at things, you can practice things behind closed doors, so to speak. So you're not embarrassed if you make a mistake and someone sees you mess up or something like that. So I think it's an ideal opportunity for people to practice without it being too intimidating.
But equally, I think networking is so important, and that's what's lovely about what we have here, is everybody is just so nice, everyone's so encouraging. It's just the most amazing group, isn't it? And that's partly why I couldn't face the live on Monday, because I knew only one kind word would absolutely break me and ruin me. I couldn't have carried on. No way. But that's what's amazing, is the learning and the networking, which is really important.
It is, absolutely. So yeah, don't be afraid. Just get back at the bench and just get on with it. Yeah, it'll all come back to you.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Back to basics sometimes as well, I think helps, because certainly as a musician, you go back to just your scales and the things that your bread and butter kind of stuff. So just practice your, I don't know, I'm not a metalsmith, your soldering, your basics. Just go back to your.
But then even professionals, even people like myself who have been doing this for years and years and years, it's still always good just to go back to the basics. Let's just practice soldering. Let's just see the smallest amount of solder we can use on this particular joint. Let's see what we can do when it comes to this particular type of repair. How can we do it better? How can we look at it from a different angle? And I think, as you say, continual development and going over the basics and stuff. Because everyone says, oh yeah, I know it all. I know how to do that. I know how to do that. But I always buy books on jewellery making, whether it be the most basic or the most advanced. And I've got two bookshelves absolutely jam-packed. I get another one now. And you just don't know when a little bit of a snippet, a little bit of an idea, when you go, oh my gosh, I haven't tried it that way. Let's try it that way. And it may work for you, it may not. If it works for you, oh my gosh, 30 years of doing this, and there could be another way of soldering, another way of holding something or doing something that you haven't discovered. So yeah, continuous development, buy books, look on the internet, find different ways of doing things. That's been my answer to there. Paul, no whiteboard. I don't fancy climbing over the sofa to do whiteboard, but I do have my pad. in case there's a jewellery related question. Louise, may we have another question, please, whilst I pour some more
Okay.
sparkly.
Audrey, thank you for your question. Making a ring that I designed, but I can't seem to get the strip on onyx to stay laying in the channel I created on the band. My intention was to set it by using tension, but it just isn't staying. The stone would be laying horizontally with only the two long sides being secured by the Argentine band. The two ends would be exposed on either side of the band.
It's a strip of onyx lying in a channel.
Yep.
Okay. The way that I would do that would be, it would be nice to be able to have a piece of onyx that is cut specifically for you, but in this case, if it's just a rectangular section of onyx. Okay, here we go. I feel like Tony Hart. This is really awkward now, working from this way.
Do you want me to hold the board for you? No?
So there's your onyx, okay? And you have to set that in, I presume, like a channel. Okay, so this onyx has to fit into that channel. The best way of doing this is to make sure that this top edge is going to be perfectly aligned and perfectly the same width as your onyx. What I would also do is below this is just remove a little bit of metal along the channel, okay? So you remove this and you move this all the way along the channel. So you're undercutting, yeah, does that make sense? You're undercutting. And then what you do, then you put cement, you put some epoxy resin, some 2-part epoxy resin, like a 5 or 10 minute quick hardening one, and you line this area and all this area under here, and here with the epoxy resin, because the epoxy resin then can sit into this groove. You push your onyx down into place, but also what I would do is roughen up the edges that are not seen. So you roughen up that edge, you roughen up this edge, you roughen up underneath as well. Roughen it up with perhaps like a diamond burr or a very sharp point, and you roughen up this area, because if it's too smooth, it's the cement, the epoxy resin has no key. It doesn't attach itself to it. So try and roughen up the area that obviously is not seen. And then when you push this into the channel, the cement, the epoxy resin will go into the recessed area, and it will then key into and attach itself to all the edges around it. If you don't undercut in this channel, there is nowhere for the cement to go, and you'll have a very, very, very thin amount of cement, and the stone will not stay in. But by having this undercut all the way around, there's going to be plenty of epoxy resin around holding the stone, and because the sides of the stone are rough, the epoxy resin is going to be able to have a key and hold on to it, and that would be the best bit. And then push it down into place. Don't worry about getting any epoxy resin that may squirt up. Push it down, hold it down, push it down with your thumb, or get like a clamp to clamp it into place so it's level with the top. Obviously you've checked that it's the right depth channel beforehand. Make sure it's nice and level. Then when it's completely cured, what you need to do then is just to get a knife just to cut off any excess epoxy resin that will be sort of squidged up above the top. And then you can clean it all back then with perhaps your polishing, nice hard calico or hard felt mop, just to bring that back to a gorgeous, gorgeous shine. How's that? Maybe have another question there, please, Louise.
Okay. Ashley is asking, in your shop, do you only ship to the UK? Have you had bad experiences shipping abroad?
Okay, so our website only limits to the UK. The problem with shipping abroad is that you cannot ship jewellery, precious metals, places like Australia, because they won't allow it. Although you can send costume jewellery, so I don't understand the reason for that. And then you do get problems with shipping. Will then the person who buys it, will they pay the shipping cost involved? So rather than avoid that problem, we don't bother, do we? UK only. We do have had people where they send stuff to us, tools or supplies, that sort of thing, from America, and they can take weeks and weeks and weeks, and if you're working to a deadline, that's no good. So we just avoid the headache and just say UK only, don't we?
Yeah,
absolutely. It's for us, it's far easier to do it that way. Next question, please, Louise.
Rachel, yes, we're in Wales. We're in South Wales.
We're in South Wales, little town, Ystrad, just about 10-15 miles north of Cardiff. Absolutely.
Okay.
Next
thank
question.
you, Laura. That's lovely. So that was, 180 parcels. Got the impression Royal Mail. Do you know what? I've always respected everybody in all industries and walks of life, but I now have a newfound respect for delivery drivers.
Absolutely.
After the other day.
We spent about 4 hours, didn't we, delivering in total ourselves.
Miserable.
Yeah.
Got shouted at.
Yeah. Jason got chased by dogs. He got, it can only happen to Jason. He got chased by two dogs. He slipped in the mud, and I don't know why he was filming it. He's just.
That's the funniest part. You film being chased by dogs, but yeah.
So yeah, we have a new respect for delivery drivers, even though everyone moans at delivery drivers. Oh, they can't do this, they can't do that. To be honest, it's an amazing thing, and they drive here, they drive there. They have to sort out parcels. They knock the door, no one's in. They gotta leave it.
It was that man who shouted at me, and his delivery wouldn't go through the letterbox, and it's like £300 worth of jewellery, so you can't leave it outside. And I'm not a delivery. We're not Berry Logistics, so we were just. Oh my
God, no! We just got
the door.
Sat nav. Next one. I try to put it in areas. Yeah, next one, yeah.
Yeah, and it was night worker, do not knock the door, and I was thinking, well, it's me, and he obviously wants his parcel, so I knocked the door. That was my mistake,
and he shouted at you, open the upstairs window.
Shouted at me, can't you leave it next door? And I went, no, I got back in the car, I burst into tears, and I went, he shouted at me when I was wearing my Santa hat. Yeah.
And that was the second delivery of the day. That was. We had about another 30 to go that day.
Mood, that did,
absolutely.
There we go. So yes. So Royal Mail.
Great customer service. Yeah, it was good. But yeah.
Nick is saying, I'm starting silversmithing as a hobby. Any suggestions on where to buy basic tools and supplies online to get started? There are so many options, it's overwhelming. I live in Spain.
Nick, I don't know of any places in Spain, to be honest. I don't know of any specifically to Spain. If you can ship from the UK, I suppose the three main companies that I would use in the UK is Betts Metal Sales. They're in Birmingham. They're in Spencer Street in Birmingham, so that's Betts Metal Sales. I would use places like Cookson. I know Cookson have a French warehouse. I know they have a British one, they have an American one. So Cookson Precious Metals or Cookson Gold. And also there's another company that I use now, also this called Cousins UK. A lot of people really don't like them because their customer service is really not up to scratch. But I order little bits and pieces from them. The price and the delivery is absolutely brilliant. So there's Betts Metal Sales, Cookson Gold, and also Cousins UK. That's the three main people who I would deal with here in the UK. If you can go to America, you can use places like Otto Fry, Guess Wine, Rio Grande. Those are the main ones in America as well. But I don't know anyone specifically to Spain. But those are the main ones. Just check them out. Buy some books, look online, find out what tools you need. But don't buy just don't buy everything. You need to say, okay, I'm going to learn how to solder. So what do I need to solder? I need a torch, I need tweezers, I need solder, I need a soldering block, I need some pickle, some safety pickle, some third-hand tweezers.
Have we got a list of beginners' tools?
We are compiling one, yes. We are compiling one. So we need to get that sorted. Yeah. Like everything else, we just need to go. And perhaps hopefully now with this lockdown, we'll be able to...
This is the only thing, isn't it? That it's time, isn't it? Which you're not going to get again. Yeah.
Oh, I said that we wouldn't work as hard as what we did in the first lockdown, because if I was desperation, we'd try and get the website. But I think now we can sort of put together some sort of a basic plan of action, can't we?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Good. Okay. Maybe have a next question then, please. Thank you, Nick, for that.
Yes. Lisa, I read a negative Etsy comment that dirt got under a stone and the artist didn't leave the back open for cleaning. I made a bezel set, chrysoprase, and I didn't leave a hole in the back plate. Leave open or no?
I think the thing is that when you make a piece of jewellery, you make it to the best of your ability. Then your responsibility for that piece of jewellery then ends, in one respect, when you hand it over to the customer. It's up to the customer to look after it, to treat it with care. If anything should happen to that piece of jewellery, at the end of the day, it's not your responsibility. But you do have to think about the person wearing it and how they are going to wear it. And if it does become dirty, how are they going to clean it? If you've made it in a bezel setting and the stone is clear, it's going to be very difficult for them to get any dirt out from the back of the bezel, the back of the setting. So perhaps I would not have left a hole, I would have perhaps left a whole area so any dirt could actually be removed. If it was an opaque stone, it doesn't matter whether it's closed in or it's open. So if it's a chrysoprase, I'm sure that's a clear stone. I would not have had a closed in back. I would have made a decent amount of a gap or a hole or a decorative little area underneath that setting to enable the client to be able to clean that stone should they get dirt behind it. So leave open or not, leave it open. You just have to think about the customer and how they're going to wear it.
I mean, Becca said if they bought it, then it was precisely what they wanted, and I suppose that's a valid argument, isn't it? This is how you purchased it, and I get asked all the time, how long will this plating last, or ask you, and you can give advice, but ultimately the answer always is it depends on how well you look after it. If you're going to wear it all the time when it's not designed for everyday wear, then you can expect it to not.
And this is the advantage that you've got with selling in person. Is the fact that you can ask the customer, ask the client, who's it for? How are you going to wear it? Is it for your daughter, your sister, your aunt, your cousin, your husband, your wife, whatever? What do they do? Do they have a desk job? Do they have an active life? Do they rock climbing? I wouldn't wear their 3-carat diamond when it comes to rock climbing. So you can give advice, and you can advise them on what is suitable for their lifestyle. But selling online, that's completely different. You can't go through someone...
But if you're going to buy... Sorry to interrupt you. If you're going to buy that online without taking any advice, then the onus is then on the customer, isn't it?
It is, yes. Yeah.
For not making an informed purchase.
But then it's also upon the jeweller to make sure that the design is...
durable enough for it.
Yeah, to be
But then
worn.
how do you know what the purpose is?
But then, I would not seal in the back of a clear stone. Because then you've got to think about, okay, whether it's the customer's responsibility or not, there's dirt going to get behind and you need to get that dirt out. And if you haven't made provision to get that dirt out, well then I'd say that would be the jeweller's problem, not the customer's. Because the customer doesn't know. Customer thinks, well, that stone is going to be great, that stone is going to keep on being clear. Then it's not the customer's fault there's dirt behind it, that's through everyday wear, unless they've been told not to wear it every day. So I think, think ahead, think advanced, think of what problems you may get if something happened to it. You may have this massive stone, there's 3 claws on it. That is not suitable. You've got to think about the person's wear. They'll come back and say, I've lost the stone. No, there was 3 claws on it. But you didn't tell me I had to be careful with it. So I think the onus then of a person speaking is
But then define care.
Yeah.
Because one person's care is another person's recklessness, is another person's over the top, isn't it? This is what's really difficult. It's so subjective.
It is difficult because remember that case about October, November time on that diamond, that the woman managed to sue the jeweller for the loss of her stone because she said it wasn't secure enough. She said she took her glove off and the diamond wasn't there, and she searched was it Victoria Station in London, and she managed to sue the jeweller for the cost of the stone, £20,000, something like that. That's scary, isn't it?
But then it does come down to your care, doesn't it? Like personally, I get in the house and my jewellery comes off.
Yeah, absolutely.
My engagement ring comes off. Everything just goes in its box.
Yeah. So this is we're taking advantage of me this one. But yeah, so you do take good care. Is your laptop gone off?
No, it's just gone to sleep.
Okay. So yeah, you do
No, it has gone off.
You do take good care over what you have. But it's awkward, isn't it? To be able to be sued for £20,000 plus for a diamond that you set that was safe.
This
scary.
throws up a whole, because this makes me think now, because I'm very concerned with risk assessment and that sort of thing. What should that change the way that we work? Should we be taking photographs of incoming jobs? Should we be taking photographs of outgoing jobs? Should we prove the quality of our work and keep that on file? Because that's the first kind of high profile case, isn't it, where a jeweler's been sued that I know of.
And she didn't claim on her insurance, which would have paid out, I'm sure. She managed to sue the jeweler. She said that it wasn't up to standard, but then he turned around and said, well, we've had stuff in the past from her that looked like it had been abused and she wasn't a careful person, and we've had stuff in that we had to put right because of her lack of care with the jewellery. But yet she still won. Anyway.
But then, it's very subjective, isn't it? But I personally, I think it is going down that line, isn't it, where we need to keep really, really concise records of jobs that we're taking in, and possibly even photograph jobs that are going back out, because there's no other way that you can prove.
No, there's not. It's scary, isn't it?
It is. So maybe items over a certain value.
Yeah.
But then I suppose to find value as well, because a value to a customer is
sentimental value. There's no value on sentimental value, but sentimental. Okay, next question, please, Louise.
Okay, shut up, Louise and Andrew. Paul is asking, if making for stock in the UK, do you make a specific size, or do you not make stock? Or is there a standard size for display items to be made? Well done on the orders. Thank you, Paul.
So we don't make an awful lot of jewellery for stock ourselves. If we buy in from a supplier, we will buy in the most common sizes. Now, that will depend on where you are in the country. By different parts of the country, a standard size may be bigger than another part of the country. We have rings sort of M, N, O and P. So those are the 4 sizes that we would buy in, because they're the most popular sizes. Not much point buying in rings that like a size K or a size L, because you're going to have to resize that 99 times out of 100. But MNOP, 4 different finger sizes here in the UK, which should be fine. If I was making something for stock, I would make it in those sort of sizes myself. Simple as that. Next question, please.
Paul, how did you meet?
How did we meet? We met in a cafe, didn't we? We used to go there for our lunch, like a takeaway. You used to go there and I used to go there, and we just got chatting.
I used to order a panini because it took ages to cook.
It took the longest, and we used to have a little table in the corner that we used to go and sit in and just basically have a chat, didn't we?
Yeah.
And we were both going through divorces at the time, and we just got chatting, and just realised then that we had so much in common, and just went from there. Yeah, there we go. And happily married. We were married 22nd of February this year. Managed to get our...
We obviously upset the gods, because that's when
upset the gods, because we managed to get a honeymoon in Paris. We managed to go away We were supposed to go away on lots of places this year with work as well, but then COVID came along. But I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed every moment with
Glad
you.
to hear it.
No, I mean to say that some people, being forced together is as in COVID.
Oh, right, okay, yeah.
Not the COVID really does put a strain upon a relationship, but being forced together and being with you every single day, I couldn't wish for anything better in the whole wide world.
That's nice.
It's true though. It's true.
Same, obviously.
Next question, please, Louise.
Okay. How do you bend silver tube, please? Do you need special equipment? That's from Leslie. Thank you, Leslie.
Several ways, Leslie, depending on what you're doing with the tube. Some people will cap one end, fill it with sand, cap the other end. And when I say cap, solder on a plate on the end, fill it with sand, fill it with things like water, and then freeze it so it's ice in the middle, or cap the end with sand, solder it again. Then when you bend the tube in, it then doesn't kink because there's something in the middle of it that stops it from kinking. You can also get some springs that will either go inside the tube or on the outside of the tube that then will stop the metal from kinking, because it will kink. Excuse me. I got some in my cupboard over there, but I just can't get to it.
Do you want me to get it?
No, it's fine. So there's that sort of way. If you are making up things like sleepers or creoles, there's an amazing technique that I must do for At The Bench and also for YouTube that enables the metal to curl, and it's amazing to watch. I've got to do that yet. Some people will fill the actual tube with things like talc, but if you fill it with water, cap the end, fill it with water, put it in the freezer, the water will freeze, it'll become ice, then you should be able to bend it. But the tube and the springs that go inside and outside are the best way. You can buy them in most hobby places, and that's the best way to do it, I think. A lot of big manufacturers will fill the inside with things like a copper wire when they draw it down, and then they'll put that in acid to dissolve the copper wire, so all they got left with is the silver or the gold. There we go. Next question, please. That's the best way, I think, of bending wire.
Okay.
Next question.
Fran is asking, what is a good beginner box clasp to make? A good beginner box clasp to
What is a good beginner box clasp? What is a good beginner?
A good beginner box clasp.
A good beginner box clasp. A box clasp is a box clasp, isn't it?
But is there one that's better for beginners? A technique or a...
I suppose the easiest way of doing this is to avoid making up a box. That sounds really silly, but you can buy tube, and you can make a box clasp from ready-made tube. There's not much point in me trying to explain how to do it, but you've got your piece of tubing. Obviously, it's better than having to make up a box because the tubing is already made up. So what was the question? Is there a good and easy box clasp to make for a beginner?
Yeah.
Make a box clasp out of tube. That's backwards. There we go. And not that way. That makes sense. And I can't really offer any more advice than that. We've made a box clasp on At The Bench. It's a gorgeous box clasp. Gorgeous. It's a gorgeous. I do get excited about box clasps. And when you close it, there's click. It's absolutely brilliant.
Satisfying.
Very satisfying.
Very satisfying.
But if you can find instructions on how to make a box clasp using a tube
for a bracelet, is it a bracket? For a bracelet.
For a bracelet.
Tube clasp.
Yeah, okay, if you're making it for a necklace, these are the easiest ways of doing it, is to make it out of tubing.
Okay.
If you want to make it completely by hand, make it out of square. You can't make it out of square section. You'd have to make up this by hand. We've got this on At The Bench. It is very satisfying to make. Tubing, find some instructions on the internet or a book and make it out of tubing. That would be the best. way of doing it. I think the tubing would be a good idea if you're making a necklace. If you're making a bracelet and you want it obviously slightly bigger, well then definitely a box clasp would be a lot better.
Okay.
Next question,
Excellent.
please, Louise.
Do you ever use a microscope? Warren is asking.
Warren, I do use a microscope. I have a microscope downstairs attached to my bench. I use it when I come to do my stone setting or some engraving that I really do need to look really close at. General everyday stuff, no, I don't. I simply use my Optivisor, a 4 diopter or a 5 diopter Optivisor is what I would use. Microscope, yes, definitely. I've got a Meiji that I use downstairs, and that's on a stand that I can pull around. I have an Acrobat stand, but that won't fit in front of me. But I got one of the ones with the pole and the arm that comes out that I can simply bring around, bring it into place, and then I've got my my Benchmade directly underneath it that I can look through. But only for setting really is the best way of setting, because it is amazing how tiny little precise movements are exaggerated under a microscope, and I do enjoy using my microscope. Next question, please, Louise.
Bruce, happy belated Christmas and New Year. Do you have anyone who can help me with a writer for a children's Christmas story? Oh, I have a basic idea also how to get someone to have me design a few things. We're all jewellers here, darling, but
yeah,
maybe there is somebody who can help
there's somebody
Bruce.
on there who may know. There's lots of people. There's 146 people on.
I'm sure somebody will know somebody who can help.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you can help Bruce, let him know in the chat, please.
Yes. Absolutely.
Romy, your question. What was your question?
I just have to scroll back.
I know, I can't find it. There's been lots. It was something like, has a customer ever asked you to make something which the customer loved but you hated?
Yeah. There's
Remember
lots.
that ring?
There's
Remember
lots
the
of
lady
things.
with the ring and she liked it and then she hated it? She liked it at first.
Yeah.
And it was... it was exactly what she wanted. It was made to her exact specifications.
We had the photo. She sent me photographs. She brought in photographs of exactly
That
the
was it,
sort of
Romy,
thing.
yeah. Have you ever made a design for a customer that you didn't like but the customer absolutely loved?
I think the majority of things that we make up I don't like.
But this
That's
particular
very personal.
ring, it was, and I can remember thinking...
It was exactly what she wanted.
This is what's difficult, though, is that you've got your name to that.
Yeah. This is the problem, isn't it?
Mm.
We have to make up what the customer wants. If we made up just what we wanted to do, we wouldn't get half the business, would we?
No.
So.
But she ended up hating it as well because she wore it for a week and she came back with it.
Came back and she wanted it changed. I said, well, that's exactly as you got. What did we end up doing? Giving her her money back.
It was awful. It was, wasn't it?
Is it the one that we did?
We went this way, we went that way.
That way. And it's exactly as she wanted, exactly as the drawing. And I showed her. I said, I'm sorry. I said, but it's exactly as but it doesn't sit right on my finger. I went, right.
Perhaps
But then there's no saying that if you bought that ring would sit right or wouldn't sit right on your finger. We don't know, do we? But that's exactly what you wanted. So we ended up giving her her money back and she just kept everything as it was. And I said, I think she came back a couple of times and we adjusted it, we altered it. And I said, if I give you your money back, I don't.
Will you go away?
I don't want to see you again. You can't come back and say you don't want it. You want something done because you're having your money back. And there's lots of things. I've made.
The problem is Andrew's like we say he's like Basil Fawlty. I don't know if only the British people or the British people will know who that is. But if you Google Basil Fawlty.
Basil Fawlty.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So the other thing that I told them I was not happy making. They wanted.
You take your fingers out of my shop.
We had a natural diamond. I'm not quite sure if that's a natural diamond.
Steve, that's what we had. It's so nice you could print a resin mod. Steve, she
No,
liked it.
she
liked
loved
it
it.
for a week and she brought it back after a week and didn't like it.
Absolutely loved it when she had it, and then
It was exactly what she wanted.
she brought it back. So we had this idea. A customer had this natural diamond that they bought. To be honest, It looked like a boogie. It was disgusting. It looked like a crusty bit. So they wanted a tension setting. They seen this tension setting, and this is what they wanted set in a tension setting. So obviously, this is just completely, So they wanted it in this ring tension set, and they wanted, and it's rubbing on my microphone now. So they wanted the stone set like that. In a tension setting.
Steve, that's usually the friend's input. Yes, definitely.
Friends
my
input?
husband said he didn't like it, or
That's
I don't
true.
listen to anyone. Quite like some, and then.
So this was an engagement ring, and they
Oh, it's not the one I'm thinking of. Then.
they
Okay.
bought this this diamond off the internet. I don't know how much they paid for it, but it was about 6-8 millimeters, and she wanted it set with an attention setting so you could see all around you. You could see, big natural diamond, great. I said, no, I'm not going to make that, because you've only got to wear it or you force it over your finger, and you're going to force this open. So what I suggested that we do, we lasered, but we didn't have a laser, so we got someone else to do it for us. We lasered a little girdle underneath it. So looking down on top, here's the oh my gosh, let me start again. Tony Hart would not be pleased with me today.
Spinning in his grave now.
And again, he wouldn't have as much Prosecco as I've just had. So there we go. So that's the view on top of the setting, So the stone wanted to be in this, sort of like this, So the stone would be sat there. I said, I'm not happy with that. So what we did, we lasered underneath, when the stone was in place, a little girdle underneath like that would be hidden underneath the stone. Okay, so then the stone then went on top, so you couldn't see that little girdle, little seat for the stone to sit on. That then would stop the two sides from being pulled apart. We did it after the stone was in place, because we couldn't put that in place and then set the stone. Afterwards, we put the stone in place, and then we had that lasered underneath. And I said to them, this is the only way that I will guarantee this stone to stay in place. And they were happy at the end of it, because it's all very well saying, we'll make that, but you've got to be sure that whatever you're making is going to be good, that's going to last. There's not much point in making something that the customer says they want, and they come back a week later and it's broken off, the claw's missing, or the stone's missing, or it's gone out of shape, or it doesn't sit right. So we always try and explain to the customer what is going on. Is it going to lie flat? Is it going to be right for what the customer wants? So that would be the only, but there's lots of things actually that we make that we don't like. But at the end of the day, the way I look at it is the fact that I love making things. I love the process of making things, and the process of soldering, shaping, moving the metal, setting stones in it, bending it, and so forth. I get excited about that. The finished piece, I don't get that excited about, but you love it, don't you?
I love it, yeah.
This is the thing. You don't care about the creation of it, but you.
I do.
But you care then about the finished piece, how it looks and everything else.
It's how it makes that person feel. That's what I love. That's
so
the payoff for me, and I can't understand how you can't buy into that.
No.
Because I make you come out to people, don't I? And what was the lady before Christmas, and you'd made her daughter her 21st birthday present, and she was absolutely overwhelmed, and she kept trying to kind of catch your eye, and you were in the workshop and you were just busying yourself, and she just wanted to see you and thank you. That's all she wanted, because she was so thrilled with it. And to you, it's just, I've done that technical, and I've done a lovely technical job.
Just another piece, isn't it? Just another piece.
But it means so much.
And
to
you
that
do
person.
that piece to the best of your ability. I didn't like it. Not for any reason that it
was very plain, very simple.
But I look at things differently to the way a customer wants. The customer says, I want this, I want that, I want it like this, I want that, I want that. And that design is suitable for the person who's wearing it. I'll make it. I don't have to like it, do I?
But you can like the fact that they like it.
next, I don't understand myself. I don't understand. I am weird. I think I've been doing this a long time, and I'm very hard to please. I really am. I
just think if a customer leaves really, really happy, then I'm really, really happy for them. And I like buying stock for the shop, and I love it when people buy it and are really pleased with it, and I go, I love this. So I think they think I'm just saying that, and it's like a bit of a sales patter. But if I bought something in and I really love it, and I say I really love it, it's because I really love it.
It is, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Anyway,
I don't get that. Anyway, I don't get that.
You don't
I just don't get excited.
I do. Okay. I'm getting into this is Lazar. I'm getting into opal from Australia and sand casting. My question is, have you dealt with setting opal? Oh yeah, you have, haven't you?
Have I?
Yeah. Wasn't there an opal issue last week?
Opal issue last week?
Didn't you crack an opal?
I cracked an opal. It happens all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm getting into opals from sand casting. Yeah, you can't.
Have you dealt with setting opal?
Yeah, for years I have always hated setting opals because they are so temperamental. This is where a microscope does come in handy. What I used to find was I used to be setting them, whether perhaps a bezel setting, something like that, and I go, oh, there's a slight gap. And I spent ages making the piece, or I got this lovely, gorgeous opal, and I'm past burnishing. There's a little gap. Let me just try and and I crack the opal, or I chip it, or I split it, and I go, why didn't I just leave it? And that has happened for years and years and years. I just don't understand. So what I do now, I set it absolutely brilliantly, and if there is a slight gap, I go, do you know what? The stone is set. I'm really looking at this with my loupe. I know the customer won't necessarily see it, and you know, I'm going to leave it. I know what's going to happen. So I will burnish it, or I'll go a little bit further, and I will crack it. So that's the reason where a microscope comes in very handy as well, because you can really see exactly how far you've got to push that metal. So a microscope does come in very, very handy with that. And I did even last week before last, before Christmas, a gorgeous three opal ring. We replaced the opals in it. It was the third opal that I was setting into it, and I was just trying to raise the claws, and I thought the claws there, not quite touching the opal. Went a little bit further, the claw snapped, or the little grain snapped, my hand slipped, and I cracked the opal. Why didn't I just leave it? Exactly.
It's that fine line, isn't it?
Is that, yeah.
It's just a little bit more,
and you go,
too much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just stop. I just stop now just before, and it's fine now. And the stone is safe anyway. It's not loose, not rattling. It's just that little bit extra, that perfection. You think, I can't do it. I'm going to crack it.
Laser setting opals,
Sorry?
Steve said that's why I invented laser setting opals in 2004. Also use it on emeralds.
And emeralds as well, yeah. So there we go, yeah. Set things from the back as well, and then laser them closed. Absolutely. Okay, maybe we have another question. I know it's like 5:15.
Yeah, we're really encroaching on people's time now. When do we see Jason? Yeah, we've done that.
You won't see Jason.
La. Where are we?
Casting from home, Cecil.
Would you have any recommendations on how I can cast my jewellery? Ideally, I would like to do this at home, but I'm not sure if Delft casting would be good or detailed enough.
So yeah, if you're doing it from home, it's really. Is my microphone gone off? No, it's still going. Yeah, so I reckon if you're doing casting from home, Delft clay is the best thing that you can do. You can use cuttlefish as well, but you don't necessarily get the definition. Delft clay, it's a one-off cast. If you make it or do it wrong the first time, you got to redo the mold again. I would recommend Delft clay. If you want to get into producing a regular line or a regular range or style of jewellery, you won't be able to do it at home. You're going to have to do some lost wax casting and perhaps send the master off to a casting company and get them to cast it for you. But delved clay is a great way to understand what casting is all about. That's about the best thing I can say to that question, really. But to do things on a mass production at home, very difficult with the space and with the amount of equipment that you need. If you're doing it from a garage, that sort of thing, you may be able to do it. But it does take a lot of time, a lot of effort and a lot of money to do it. Next question then, please, Louise.
Okay. Do you want to do some?
Yeah, sure, yeah.
Should we
yeah.
do this, or should we go here?
I'll
What
go here.
we-
Should we do some recent ones here?
Yeah. Harisha, a cracked a pink sapphire, as we're talking about fracturing stones. I cracked a pink sapphire, only 1.5 mil. How? I thought it was hard. Yep, corundums are, aren't they? I've hardly set any stones, but it was a Christmas present. Oh. I smashed it out and tried again and succeeded.
Yeah, but this is the thing. If you put pressure on any stone, you can put pressure on a diamond and it'll crack. You can put pressure on any stone and it will crack.
Platinum.
Platinum?
Platinum. That's the age-old thing, isn't it? Is the I thought it was hard, and I've got gouges.
Oh my gosh, yeah, absolutely.
I've said,
it's a hard metal, but not hard from...
yeah.
So again, everything has a grain. Diamonds have a grain structure within them, like all other types of stone. You just catch something on the edge. It's like a piece of wood, isn't it? If you try and bang or cut a piece of wood across the grain, it's very hard. But if you come to split a piece of wood along the grain, it is so easy. And it's the same way with stones. But if you're trying to put pressure down onto a stone, and the stone doesn't want to go anywhere and it can't go anywhere, the stone is going to split. So it will happen. Absolutely. Corundums are very hard, but they can still be cracked. They can still be chipped. Absolutely.
Steve is saying if a sapphire is poorly cut to super thin girdle, even sapphire will chip.
Fractures, yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Best practice metal?
Silver. Because silver, okay, people say, well, copper is very good as well, but copper doesn't have that same sort of ability that silver has. Silver's great. I find that it is relatively cheap, but all the offcuts from your silver you can use, so it's not going to be wasted. Copper, you buy copper, the offcuts you can't sell back or you can't necessarily reuse them, so they are wasted unless you mass together a huge bag of it. But silver's great. I love silver. I would use silver prototypes. I'd use silver for samples. We do shape wedding bands. I'll make them in silver first of all, and I think silver is the best material for that. You can reuse it if you mess it up or you want to reuse it, melt it down, start something else. You can keep on using it. Absolutely. Next question, please.
Shirley is asking, can you tell me where you buy the little abrasive sanding drums you use in your Fordham on your demos? I'm in the USA.
Yeah, they're just simple sanding drums. I'm sure you can buy them in Rio, Otto Fry, Guesswine. Just search for sanding drums. They should be there everywhere. Hatho is a company that produces them. You can go onto hatho.de, I think. And find out the distributors. But yep, sanding drums, they should be available anywhere. If you're in the UK, places like Cookson, Cousins UK, and also Betts Metal Sales, the majority of people sell them. So they're just simply called sanding drums or sanding belts. Yeah, absolutely. Another?
Okay, Colin, any ideas? Why do my bezels keep breaking apart when I'm setting the stone and my pieces are finished otherwise?
Is it cracking along the solder joint perhaps? Don't forget, the solder will work harden, metal work hardens. It could well be that. I've never had a bezel crack on me, but I know some people have. So I don't know. Perhaps the bezel's too thin, and it's very thin, and it moves too many times, and it will split. Perhaps just make it a little bit thicker perhaps, or perhaps not have too much bezel sticking above the edge of the stone, so you don't have to push it over and bend it too much.
Sandra, I've pretty much sanded the fingerprints off my thumb and forefinger, and now my fingertip is numb. Oh my goodness. And will the feeling come back as the new skin grows over? She's saying you actually know that, or are you guessing?
No, the feeling does come back.
Yeah, but she's sanded the fingerprints off.
Well, you do, don't you? Look, my fingers, they're actually...
You can still see a fingerprint.
It's worse on mobile phones. I keep knocking the plug down there, Louise. You should be back now. Yeah. Any second now. We should be back. Are you back? There you go. We're back.
Are you back?
I apologise for that. My foot keeps knocking the plug. I should have put the plug in another place, shouldn't I? Yeah, so I think fingerprints, yeah, you do sand off the fingerprints. The best way, obviously, is not to have your fingerprints sanded off. But I'd always use things like rhino skin.
Like you're saying, your body replaces skin constantly. Yep.
It does,
So
yeah.
learning guitar, yep, that's true, yep.
Yeah. So, yeah, the feeling will always come back over a period of time.
She can rob banks now.
Exactly. I think that, over the period of time, my fingers are less, what's the word? Not responsive. The feelings in my fingerprints are slightly dulled. I have to say that because, the skin gets harder on those areas there. My other fingers are all right. It's just these thumbs, index fingers of the right hand that hold things, that gets the heat from the pieces and everything like that.
Sandra, please don't rob any banks.
we're not advising to do that. But yeah, it will come back. Absolutely.
My iPhone doesn't recognise my thumbprint anymore.
It won't, but it will do. It will do. The fingerprints do come back, I can assure you. Or buy a new iPhone that has face recognition.
What happened about the raffle from the last 12? Yeah, we haven't forgotten about the raffle from the last 12-hour live stream. Have we?
No, they're still up by there. They're still exactly the same. We wanted to get this done, didn't we, before Christmas, but just time ran out. We just didn't get a chance. So, Gillian, they're still there. We are still yet to send it. To get them.
Yep, we will arrange that.
Absolutely. Okay, so so we've got another 4 more minutes. We'll do this an hour and a half, so 4 more minutes. What more questions have we got?
Buck is asking, has anybody used bitumen?
For what? Why would you? I know reason. There's
Musical
lots of ways.
instrument benders use bitumen.
Do you mean bitumen inside the tubes when you bend them?
We were
perhaps?
talking about tubes, at the
Yeah,
time.
so you can put bitumen in there. Yeah, something like that would be a good idea. Absolutely.
For bending tubes, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Buck, yeah.
Yeah, you can do, yes. But it tends to be very dirty, very disgusting. You can heat it up
Like
and you
coal,
can pour it
isn't it?
out.
Is it like a coaly type?
Yeah, like a tar. Absolutely. You can do. It's filthy dirty. It's disgusting. Yeah. You can use bitumen. You can use pitch as well. Things that you put in the bowls for when you do chasing repousse. But you have to heat it up to put it in and heat it up to get it out. When you solder, it's going to burn. It's going to cause so many problems for you.
Dirty and or disgusting kind of guy.
Thank you, Buck.
Susan is asking, kiln hardening of silver, yes or why bother?
Yes, you can use a kiln to harden silver. Why bother? Exactly. Why bother? I don't think there are many instances that you need silver hardened in a kiln. If you're thinking of posts for earrings, is it worthwhile turning the kiln on and wasting all that? Whereas you can just burnish it with the burnisher or twist it, something like that, or put it into a barrel polisher some people use. I personally wouldn't bother. Some people said, well, after you've cast something, do you work harden it? I don't feel the need to be honest. Romy, thank you very much. Really do
Romy,
appreciate
bless you.
it.
Thank you.
Really do appreciate it, Romy. Thank you for your donation there. Next question. Come on, Louise. We've got
Susan
3 more
wants
minutes.
to make glasses. Do you know who? Yeah, was it Marge? Marge
Yes,
was in
Marge
the process of making some
Making
glasses.
they want to know about doing, is it rivets or screws?
And you talked about making silver glasses as well, didn't you?
I could make a monocle. Be quite good.
It would actually rather suit you at the
It
moment.
would, wouldn't it? Yes.
With your beard as well.
Very nice. Okay,
yeah,
next
let us know
question.
how that goes, Susan. I'd like to know.
Do I need to flux the entire piece when soldering or just the joints? Does my piece stick firmly to my brick or I have to pry it off?
Why does my piece?
Okay, yeah, your piece would stick to the brick because of the flux. The flux becomes molten. It goes into the brick itself. When it solidifies, it then will take a part of the brick with it. Me, personally, I don't bother coating the whole piece. Some people say if you coat the whole piece, it stops us from getting fire scale and fire stain, that sort of thing. Yes, I totally agree with you, but the faster you solder, the less amount of time that flame is on the piece, the better. So I would purely just flux the joint. Plus, if you flux the entire piece, there's a chance that your solder is going to move around the whole piece because the flux has kept it lovely and clean, and the solder then will flow where the surface is lovely and clean. So if you just keep the area that you're soldering clean with the flux, the solder won't be inclined to move anywhere else. So for me, flux just the area that you're soldering and nowhere else, and be quick, get in and out with the soldering so you don't get any fire scale. Next,
Sandy is asking, I can't seem to get my spinner rings wide enough to the jig. Making size 8 to 11, how wide should it be?
I don't know what size 8 to 11 is.
Is that
There is, it's American.
American?
Yeah.
Shall we have a little quick
there
look?
are limitations to everything that you make. We have the spinner ring maker from Durston. We make the rings. Somebody wanted a 7 or 8 millimeter wide, and I said that was too narrow because the cones come together. You could get a very so you are limited. Obviously, this is the Durston or any spinner ring. Yeah. Flaring tool. So when these faces meet, if you have a ring that of a very small size, you may be able to work. But if you have a very big size, the piece has to be a lot wider. So there are limitations to the spinner ring, and every spinner ring flaring tool you're going to get limitations. There's going to be limitations to every tool you buy, and it's just knowing what these limitations for the rings are. Customer of ours wanted a size, what was she? Like an M or an N. She wanted it 7 or 8 millimeter. It wasn't possible using this method because by the time those cones came together and it was only 7 millimeter, you know, there just wasn't enough room to flare the edges. So if you had a ring that was 10 millimeters, well, then you've got plenty of area to be able to flare that out. So there are limitations. You just have to know what those limitations are. And the same with every tool. Every tool has its limitations. I suppose if you went for a spinner ring flaring tool that was, it's banging on my microphone, I apologise for that, that was really like this, that was very slightly tapered, that may help. And I know that Potter USA does that in a very shallow, and it's not as easy to flare it out as the Durston one. So go and check that out. Couple more. Oh, time's up. I think we got time for a couple more.
Susan is asking, what was it? Do you add borax to investment?
No.
No?
I don't know why.
Why not?
Why would you add borax to investment powder? Investment powder has been developed for use on its own. I don't understand the point of putting borax powder in it, because perhaps the borax then would heat up, and any areas where the borax powder is would cause cavities, perhaps. I don't know. Don't understand the reason why you would do that. Let me quickly know in the chat why you would put borax in your investment powder. But the thing is, investment powder is developed for that sole purpose. Adding something else to it is not what it's devised for. So yeah, just quickly let me know before we finish. Next question, Louise? Or anything coming in quite recent?
Stephen is saying, I don't mess with investment formulas.
No, don't mess with them. There is no need to mess with investment formulas. They're made for what they are.
Romy's saying, my wish is that everyone would put a thumbs up. Oh, thank you, lovely.
Thumbs up, absolutely.
Excuse me. Vaughan is saying, buying a microscope, do I need the triscope and camera?
Now the problem that you've got, if you have the trinocular, is it like that? Because binocular, binoculars 2, trinocular 3. Yeah, yeah. You can buy a Meiji trinocular scope. It's okay. The problem is you're limited to the third eye, the third tube coming out. You have to get an adapter for the camera to fit on. A lot of people have said even the Leica trinocular scope, the quality is not good. The camera is built in with the Leica, and they've said it's not that good. So me personally, I would simply go for the binocular, the simple, the two, and then have a camera attachment to the side of it. You can buy the GRS attachment. The camera fits just to the side. You can buy a camera attachment from Jura in the Netherlands, and that fits in between the stand and the microscope itself, so that'll come down this way. So there are other ways that you can do it, but I wouldn't bother with a trinocular scope. For me, it doesn't make sense. Last question then, Louise, before we have to go.
Okay. Oh, I did see one. What are your thoughts about setting Swarovski stone?
You can, yeah, good.
Technical, thanks.
Very good, that. Swarovski makes CZs, and the good thing about Swarovski stones is that they are all precision. They're all the same size. The cuts are perfect. You do pay a premium for them. So if you are practicing setting,
So it's just the brand of CZ then, yeah.
Yeah, or whatever. Yeah, pink CZs, red CZs. It is purely a brand. The good thing about them is as I said, they are all pretty much exactly the same. You buy some CZs from China or from India, no offense to any of the countries, but you buy them cheap. The stones aren't necessarily in the right proportion. They may have thick girdles, deep culets, deep pavilions, too shallow, too deep, and so forth. Not quite the right size, perhaps slightly out of round, and you're going to have problems. But if you buy Swarovski crystal or any Swarovski CZs, you can be pretty much sure they are the exact proportions that you need every single time, and you should have no problems with that.
Do you think as well, if you say it's a Swarovski over a CZ, that it'll add value to your end product?
Yeah, because everyone knows it. Yeah, everyone knows what it is. Yeah, yeah, good idea. So yeah, definitely get them, but you do pay a little bit more of a premium for them because obviously they are the brand. Was it someone said? Is it on every single stone there is the Swarovski name on the girdle?
Really?
Did someone say that? Ben. I think Ben
Really?
said that. I'm sure.
Swarovski, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I think there is. Or it's written on the stone that only under high magnification can you see it. I'm sure he said that. Yeah. That's the way of telling.
Yes, Swarovski CZs are laser engraved, Anko says. Yeah.
There we go. Yeah. There we go.
Super tiny. Wow. Oh, okay. That's interesting. On the table. Yeah.
There you go. Yep. It is there.
A logo on each Swarovski stone.
That's why they charge a premium then. One last one. Come on, one last one. Then we go. Then we're going to have to go.
Okay, I didn't have another question prepared, Andrew. You do this to me every time. Sandra, do I need to flex the entire piece when soldering or just the joints?
Did that one.
Oh. Okay.
Pay attention, girl.
Is there any 22 carat gold solder? Monica is asking to solder 22 carat gold. Or what carat solder would you recommend to use?
Yeah, there is a 22 carat solder, but there is only one melting point.
Okay.
Because you can't get easy, medium and hard because there's not enough metal to be able to alloy with to produce the different melting points. So there is a 22 carat solder and only that. And it melts just before the metal melts. Jason is scared. Jason doesn't like using it because of that precise moment. Because the moment the solder melts, you've only got a few seconds then with the heat on it before the actual metal melts. So yes, Jason doesn't like using it. It's not nice. Absolutely. How are we doing?
Buck, tell me you're going to bust open that Christmas cracker. Or whatever those are called.
Yeah, should we pull a cracker?
Go on then.
Come on then. I gotta be careful, don't knock that. Here we go.
Yeah, don't knock the...
we should have done this right at the beginning and worn the hat, shouldn't we? Oh my goodness me. What's this?
That's a hat.
That's a notebook.
Oh, Oh,
Very nice.
that came in handy to write down all your
Notebook.
film ideas, won't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's your hat.
Shall I do the joke?
Oh, well, I was going to say put the hat on. I was going to read the joke.
Go on then.
I can't read. I have my glasses on.
Where are your glasses?
They're by there.
Should we make him do the charade?
No. Go on then, do the charade then.
No,
Go
no,
on.
no. Let's
go
just do
on.
the joke. What do you get when you cross a snowman and a vampire? Anybody?
What do you get when you cross, if you cross a snowman with a vampire?
Yeah.
Come on
Anybody?
then, everybody. Let's have a look. What do you think?
What do you get when you cross a snowman and a vampire?
Very slow, aren't they?
Give them a chance.
I'm a bloody mess.
Bloody mess. Yeah, that's probably better than the answer that's on here.
No, no one's coming through.
No. The answer is frostbite, but I think I prefer a bloody mess.
Frostbite, very good, very
Frostbite,
good.
yeah, frostbite.
Well done, well
Yeah.
done, yeah.
Come on, should we do the other joke then?
Oh, come on, do one more
It's
then.
got to be done, isn't it?
Come on then.
I wasn't ready.
Oh, sorry. Oh!
You get them every time.
Oh, you get the
I love the smell.
gunpowder. You got the you got the
Where's
hat.
a moustache?
Oh,
I love
Well,
a
these are-
moustache.
these are-
I suit a moustache.
these are posh ones. You don't have moustaches in posh ones, do you?
But they're the
Yeah.
best ones.
There you go. Put that on. There's your joke. So read your joke out.
Is this a UK joke?
No.
Okay.
What did one pig say to the other pig? Oh, this is pathetic. This is.
Something about bacon?
No. So, what did one pig say to the other pig?
Anyone?
Anybody come up? Anybody come up? What did one
Oink.
pig... Oink. No. Come on. Quickly.
Anyone?
Anyone? What did one
What do
pig...
you mean quickly?
Come on.
Sorry,
Quicker.
sir.
What did one pig say to
Oink.
the other? No. Will you be...
Did it? Anyone?
No. What's
What's
bacon?
bacon?
Oh, my aching bacon.
Oh wait, bacon is what's bacon? Bacon is
Pork.
Is pork.
Is-
Yeah.
yeah. Making bacon. Are you kosher? Very good. I think those are better answers again than this one. The answer is, what did one pig say to the other? It's, will you be my pen pal?
Oh,
That's
God,
pathetic.
How did you
Oh
get
my
those
God.
crackers?
Awful.
Absolutely
Awful.
rubbish.
Where did we buy them to?
I feel a little hammy. James, you got it right. Will you be my pen pal?
Oh, well done.
Don't be a hog.
Don't be. Oh,
Buy
boy,
cheaper crackers, yeah. 'Cause
I think
I wanted a moustache.
You wanted that clip-on moustaches,
I
didn't
love
you?
a moustache.
All right, everybody. What started off as a lockdown little...
You eat like a pig.
Yeah. Let's use them all up. So, we started these question and answers right back at the start of lockdown for us in the UK, which was around March time, I do believe. And the question and answers just went on and on and on.
It was only supposed to be a lockdown
Yeah.
project, wasn't it?
Lockdown project, but we've done them every single week, apart from last week, unfortunately. And I hope everybody has enjoyed them. I think it's been good fun trying to understand the questions that you're answering, because some of them are a little bit cryptic. Do you know what?
Cryptic.
Cryptic. That's the one.
I don't think they're cryptic.
No, some not cryptic, but yeah. So
It's difficult, isn't it, to get, because you don't realise that these guys are limited to a number of characters.
no, you're right. Yeah.
So I think it's really difficult sometimes getting your question across within that
In a
that
set
limitation.
amount of characters, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So I hope we've helped you over these last 6 months, 7 months, 8 months, 9 months,
Oh, you guys.
9 months. So we're not going to stop. We're going to carry on doing the question and answers, aren't we?
Yeah.
Because we've enjoyed them, and it gives us a little bit of structure as well, doesn't it, to our week?
Definitely. When we started doing them back in, was it March?
Yeah, March, yeah.
It was just a thing to do, wasn't it? And
Yeah.
we didn't know if anybody would watch them or really join in, but you guys are just all amazing. You really make it what it is, and you kind of saved our sanity and gave our week structure as well, because it was just, we were locked down for 3 months. So we couldn't open the shop, nobody could really work, and it was just, the weeks would have just rolled into each other, wouldn't they? And it's
absolutely.
just, certainly then when we did the first 12-hour live stream, that was just amazing. That was just something to focus on and something to work towards, and we worked on it together.
Yeah.
And I think that's what made us realise that we could work together.
Yeah, absolutely. We did work well, didn't we?
Yeah,
we still
so-
do work well. Absolutely. And then, and then
Thank you, guys.
You're welcome. You're welcome, everybody. And then we did the second 12-hour as well, but don't expect another 12-hour for quite a few months yet, because it does take so much out of us trying to organise all that.
We kind of don't want to outstay our welcome either, though. It's
No,
a bit
you do.
like,
You do too many of it, and then get not
Gets
another.
a bit stale, doesn't it?
So perhaps 1 or 2 a year is enough, I think. But everybody is just so lovely. All the comments, and we have a fantastic community. We get, we're down to 129 viewers now, but we have 140, 150, 160 viewers every single week tuning in. Not everybody comments. Unfortunately, we don't get around to everybody's questions either, so we do apologise for that. But there's just so many questions to get through. We won't stop doing them. We'll keep on doing them, even through this next lockdown that we're going to be going through, because again, it'll give us something to look forward to. And we do love chatting to you, and we love helping you, and we sort of share your journey as well, don't we?
Yeah.
People saying, well, I've got a ring stuck on my finger. Was it Janet? Is it stuck on the finger? And it went on for a couple of weeks. Gillian wanted us to do the druzy. So we had that, and we get a little bit of a community going, a little bit of a banter, a little bit of a chit chat going on. And I think we do work well together.
Yeah.
There we go.
I love it.
It is good.
Yep,
it is really good.
On.
We will carry on doing the questions and answers. I'm not quite sure. What's the 28th today? So when's that? 7 days from now will be the 4th.
That'll be our first day back,
So
won't
in
it? Well,
the-
I'd say
in-
back,
in
but the
the-
shop won't be open.
Yeah, in theory, that'll be the first day back to work, although the shop won't be open. So should we say the 4th of January?
Yeah, we'll be here.
We'll be here. I hope you will be too. A little bit more formal surroundings. We'll get the bench back in.
Amco's asking about the spanner bangle.
Oh, we did it. We did the spanner bangle. We had problems again. We had problems. But let me just quickly show you, if I can, on my phone. I took some photographs. It worked out in the end. We couldn't get it engraved because of the fact that if we opened it up to engrave it, then we had to bend it back, and it may have snapped. So let's do on that camera. Can you see? Can you see that? So the bangle worked out well. Yeah, you can see that.
It was beautiful.
It took a lot of work. And this is a background that was absolute rubbish, Andrew, so you can't really see it. So that was the spanner. It was a snap-on spanner. It worked, and we're getting the client to come back in the new year to get it engraved, but engraved it by somebody else who can actually hand engrave it without having to bend it back and forth, because casting's a little bit brittle, and if you sort of flex it too many times, it may snap. I didn't want to take that chance before Christmas. But thank you for that. It worked out well.
And what was amazing, and she really loved, our customer really loved the fact that we sent her a file with images and videos of it being made. So she's now going to give that to
her husband, boyfriend,
partner.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because they're really interested in that sort of thing. So it's really lovely that they've got
and I
that
think
as well.
that's something else that you can add to the pieces that you make. Do some progress shots, because you've got your phone on you all the time. Just take some progress shots. We did some shots of the banner, of the spanner, of the bending, the making the mold, the casting it, the wax, the casting, the whole thing. We did it from start to finish, and there's about 20-30 images that she had of the whole process. I did it just for me, to be honest, at the beginning, because I wanted to see how it would all go together, and it worked well. She's got a little folder now that she can give her partner and say, I've had this made, this is the process.
Is it being made?
Absolutely.
Yeah, fabulous.
So that adds something. Right, everybody, thank you so much. So, to everybody, I'm going to raise our glasses to you and wish you all a Merry Christmas. So we wish you, everybody, Happy New Year.
Let's make 2021 a good one.
Absolutely. Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New
Happy
Year.
New Year. You can drink now.
Thank you very much.
Very nice.
Excellent.
And for those who are still on, half-price membership to At The Bench. Haven't mentioned it throughout the whole... Always a chance for selling.
Oh dear.
Half-price membership to At The Bench, HOL50. Put it in the coupon box, £90. It goes on until the end of the 1st of January. Tap in, Louise. Tap
HOL 50.
Yep. So tap that in. Thank you, Louise. you take your orders from the CEO. Don't forget.
Sorry.
All right, everyone, take care. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for persevering with us today. And we will see you on the 4th of January, won't we?
Happy New Year. We'll see you next week.
Happy New Year, everybody. We will see you all very shortly, a week from today, 4 o'clock, Greenwich Mean Time. We just simply end the stream this time, shall we?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, everyone, take care. We will see you all in a week's time. That's very good. Happy New Year. Take care. Thank you, everybody. Love you all. Bye.
Bye-bye.